Welcome to AI Daily Deep Dive. This episode was researched by the new model, O3 Deep Research, and is generated completely by AI.
Wow.
Today, we're diving deep into artificial intelligence and the future of human relationships.
Okay.
It's amazing how this study goes way beyond just the technical stuff.
Yeah.
It dives into the social side of AI.
What's fascinating is how the study shows how AI is becoming an active player in our relationships.
Right.
Not just a tool. We're talking about AI systems that can understand and respond to human emotions, hold personalized conversations, and even make decisions in social situations. It's like AI is becoming a character in the story of our lives, not just a narrator.
It's almost as if we're starting to treat algorithms as if they have personalities. You know, like when a dating app shows us a match we don't like, we might get annoyed at the app itself.
Right.
As if it's deliberately trying to set us up for failure.
That's a great example of how AI is blurring the lines between technology and social interaction. The sociologists are particularly interested in this because AI isn't just about code. It's about how that code interacts with our cultural norms, our biases, and our very human ways of relating to each other. It's like AI is woven into the fabric of society now.
It's not just some abstract concept anymore. AI is already shaping our relationships in profound ways.
Right.
The study points to a few key trends that make this research particularly relevant right now.
Yeah.
For instance, loneliness is a growing issue in many societies. As more people report feeling isolated, tech companies are responding with AI-powered solutions.
Right.
Things like chatbot friends and robot pets designed to provide companionship.
The question is, can AI truly fill the void of human connection?
Right.
Or are we just replacing real relationships with digital substitutes?
Right.
It's a fascinating dilemma the study explores in depth.
Another trend is the sheer dominance of online dating and social networking. For a lot of people, these platforms are the primary way they meet partners and make friends. And guess what? They're powered by AI algorithms that are getting more sophisticated by the day.
Think back to the early days of online dating.
Yeah.
It was all about basic matching criteria. Now, these platforms are using machine learning to sift through mountains of user data, analyzing everything from your interests to your online behavior to predict compatibility. It's both impressive and a bit unsettling, isn't it?
It makes you wonder, are these algorithms actually getting better at playing Cupid?
Right.
Or are they just reinforcing the same biases that exist in the offline world?
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate around that.
And that's one of the things I appreciate about this study. It doesn't shy away from the potential downsides of AI in relationships.
Right.
It delves into those ethical concerns, exploring issues like algorithmic bias, data privacy, and even the possibility of emotional manipulation.
Speaking of manipulation, the study also touches upon a phenomenon that's both intriguing and a bit mind-boggling. The rise of human-AI romantic relationships.
Right.
I mean, people falling in love with chatbots. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
But it's actually happening.
These advanced chatbots, like Replica, are designed to foster emotional connection. People are forming deep attachments to them, expressing love, and even holding symbolic weddings with their AI partners.
Wow.
It's blurring the lines between reality and simulation in a way that we're only beginning to understand.
Okay, now that's where it gets really interesting. And maybe a little bit unsettling. Are we really at a point where an algorithm can become someone's significant other?
Right.
What does that even mean for the future of loves and intimacy?
Those are the big questions researchers are grappling with. What's clear is that the line between fantasy and reality is becoming increasingly fuzzy.
Right.
Some users see these relationships as purely virtual escapes, while others report genuine feelings of love and affection for their AI companions. It challenges our assumptions about what it means to connect with another being.
This is already giving me a lot to think about. It's like AI is holding up a mirror to our own desires and vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Forcing us to question what we're seeking in our relationships and what role technology should play.
Exactly. And to really get a grasp on this, we need to break it down.
Okay.
Let's start with how AI is transforming the way we find love and build friendships.
Sounds good. The study looks at how AI is impacting everything from dating apps to social networks to the emergence of AI companions as friends. It seems like no aspect of our social lives is immune to this AI revolution.
It's a brave new world of connection.
Yeah.
And we're just starting to explore its possibilities and its pitfalls.
Okay.
Let's dive into the research and see what we can learn.
Okay.
We'll start with AI's role in romantic relationships, and then we'll move on to friendships and the broader impact on how we communicate.
Okay, so AI is shaking up the dating game. That's probably not a surprise to anyone who's used an app like Tinder or Bumble.
Right.
But how exactly is AI changing the rules of romance?
One of the biggest changes is the sheer scale of potential connections that dating apps offer.
Okay.
Instead of meeting people through your social circle or bumping into them at a coffee shop, you're relying on an algorithm to sift through thousands, even millions of profiles.
Right.
And to recommend potential matches based on your preferences and behavior.
So instead of relying on chance encounters or social introductions, we're letting an algorithm play matchmaker.
Exactly. And this has led to some interesting outcomes.
Okay.
For one thing, it's made it easier for people to connect across geographic boundaries and cultural differences, which has the potential to lead to more diverse and interesting relationships.
I can definitely see that. I've got friends who met their partners through dating apps, and they come from completely different backgrounds and cultures. It's definitely broadened their horizons in a way that wouldn't have been possible without this technology.
And there's even some research suggesting that AI can actually lead to stronger matches.
Really?
By pairing people based on compatibility factors beyond just physical attraction.
Wow.
Some studies suggest that couples who met online report higher levels of relationship satisfaction than those who met offline.
Interesting.
Of course, it's still early days.
Right.
And more research is needed. But it's a fascinating possibility.
That's really interesting. I always thought there was kind of a stigma attached to meeting online.
Yeah.
Like it was somehow less real than meeting in person.
That stigma is definitely fading as more and more people find love through these platforms. It's becoming the new normal, especially for younger generations. But even with these positive developments, we can't ignore the potential downsides of AI-driven dating.
Right.
There are some real concerns that the study highlights.
Yeah. There's always a flip side, isn't there?
Yeah.
What are some of the concerns this study raises?
One of the biggest is the tendency towards superficiality and gamification that swipe-based apps encourage.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in judging people based on their photos and quick profiles, which doesn't leave much room for deeper qualities to shine through.
Ah, yes, the tyranny of the swipe.
Yeah.
It's like you're shopping for a partner rather than building a genuine connection.
Right.
And it seems like the algorithms themselves might be contributing to that superficiality. Right.
That's right. The study mentions a study by researchers at Carnegie Mellon University that found a strong popularity bias in a major dating app's algorithm. Basically, the AI was disproportionately recommending users who were already deemed attractive or popular by other users. This means less conventionally attractive users were less likely to get matches, regardless of their other qualities.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
The hot people get more attention.
Yeah.
Which makes them seem even hotter to the algorithm.
Right.
Which leads to even more attention. It creates a system where certain people are constantly disadvantaged simply because they don't fit the algorithm's narrow definition of attractiveness.
It's a valid concern, and it's not just about physical appearance.
Right.
The algorithm might also favor users who are more active on the app. Who have more matches or who get more messages. It creates a feedback loop that rewards certain behaviors and punishes others. Right. Which can lead to a sense of unfairness and frustration for users who don't fit the mold.
It's like the algorithm's playing favorites. And it's not always picking the most deserving candidates.
Another issue the study raises is the potential for bias and discrimination.
Right.
AI algorithms can inadvertently perpetuate societal biases if they're not carefully designed and monitored.
Yeah.
For instance, if an app's user base tends to favor people of a certain race or background, the algorithm might start underserving profiles of those who don't fit the majority preference.
So even if you're actively trying to be open-minded in your dating choices, the algorithm might be working against you without you even realizing it.
Exactly. It highlights the need for more transparency from dating app companies about how their algorithms work and what steps they're taking to mitigate bias. Users deserve to know how these systems are shaping their experiences and to have a say in how their data is being used.
Transparency is key.
Yeah.
And it's not just about fairness. It's also about privacy. These dating apps collect a ton of personal information about us.
Right.
And it's not always clear how that data is being used.
That's right. We're talking about our intimate conversations, our dating preferences, even our location data.
Right.
This information is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
And it raises concerns about data security, potential misuse, and the possibility of our most private thoughts and feelings being exploited.
I know I've had moments where I felt a bit creeped out by how accurately a dating app seemed to know my interests or predict my behavior. It's like they're reading my mind.
There was a case mentioned in the study where a researcher requested her data from a dating app and discovered it had logged everything. Every photo she'd uploaded, every message she'd exchanged with a match, and even detailed inferences about her demographics and personality traits. It's a reminder that we're often sharing more than we realize when we use these platforms.
That's definitely unsettling. Yeah. It makes you wonder what else they're tracking and who has access to that information.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of manipulation.
Right.
Dating platforms have a financial incentive to keep users engaged.
Yeah.
And there's always the risk that they might design their algorithms to create a sense of addiction or to withhold matches strategically to encourage users to keep swiping and subscribing.
It's like they're dangling a carrot in front of us.
Yeah.
But they're not actually interested in us catching it. They just want us to keep chasing it.
It's a valid criticism. It raises questions about whether these platforms are genuinely helping people find meaningful connections or whether they're primarily concerned with maximizing profits.
So it's not just about finding love anymore. It's about generating clicks, swipes, and subscriptions. And what does that do to our sense of self-worth and our expectations for relationships?
The study talks about the potential psychological toll of swiping culture.
Okay.
The anxiety of choice overload, the sting of rejection amplified by the impersonal nature of these apps, and the pressure to present a perfectly curated version of yourself. It can be exhausting and emotionally draining, even if it occasionally leads to a successful match.
I've definitely felt that exhaustion. It's easy to get sucked into the endless scroll of profiles.
Yeah.
And to start feeling like you're constantly being evaluated and compared. It's like a beauty contest where the judges are algorithms.
And the ease with which people can ghost each other on these apps contributes to a sense of disposability. It's like relationships are becoming more transactional and less meaningful.
It's a bit depressing, honestly. But even beyond the matching process, AI is changing how we communicate within romantic relationships. It's not just about who we meet, but how we interact with them.
That's right. AI-powered tools like Smart Reply, predictive text, and even AI ghostwriters are becoming increasingly common in the dating world.
Wait, AI ghostwriters? You mean people are using AI to write their love letters?
Not just love letters, but opening lines, flirty texts, and even responses to messages. It's like having a digital wingman whispering sweet nothings in your ear.
Wow. I guess if you're struggling to come up with a witty opener or you're not sure how to respond to a message, it might be tempting to let an AI do the heavy lifting. But is it authentic? Is it honest?
Those are the big questions. It raises concerns about misrepresentation and deception. If you're relying on an AI to craft your messages, are you really presenting your true self? And what happens if both parties are using AI to communicate? Are they really getting to know each other? Or are they just falling in love with an algorithm's idea of romance?
It's like the AI is becoming a kind of intermediary in our relationships, shaping our words and influencing our perceptions. It's a bit unsettling.
It is, and it highlights the need for transparency and clear communication about when and how we're using AI in our relationships. We need to be honest with ourselves and with our partners about the role technology is playing in our interactions.
We need to make sure AI is a tool for enhancing our relationships, not replacing them. It's like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly.
It all depends on the user's intentions and awareness.
Exactly. And remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even touched upon AI's impact on friendships and social networks yet.
Okay, so AI is transforming the way we find love. But what about those platonic bonds? Is AI shaking up the friend zone as well?
Absolutely. The study dives deep into how AI is mediating friendships,
Okay.
both by connecting us with new people
Right.
and by influencing how we communicate with existing friends. It's like AI is becoming the social coordinator of our lives.
So even our casual hangouts and friendly chats aren't immune to the AI revolution.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Think about those friend suggestions you get on social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
Those are powered by AI algorithms
Okay.
that analyze your network interests
Right.
and online behavior to recommend people you might want to connect with.
I have to admit,
Yeah.
I've reconnected with some old friends through those suggestions. It's almost eerie how accurate they can be. Like the platform knows who I've lost touch with and who I might want to reach out to.
It's a testament to the power of data analysis and machine learning.
Right.
These algorithms are constantly learning from our online behavior,
Yeah.
identifying patterns,
Mhm.
and making predictions about our social preferences.
And it's not just about rediscovering old friends. These algorithms can also connect us with new people who share our interests or values, expanding our social circles beyond our immediate geographical or social bubbles.
Exactly. The study highlights how AI is facilitating the formation of online communities centered around shared hobbies,
Oh, yeah.
political beliefs,
Right.
support groups,
Yeah.
and all sorts of other interests. It's like finding your tribe,
Mm-hmm.
even if they're scattered all over the world.
It's like having a global matchmaker for friendships,
Right.
helping us find people who get us, even if they live thousands of miles away.
Exactly.
And AI is making it easier than ever to bridge those geographical and cultural barriers.
The study even mentions how AI-powered language translation tools are further breaking down barriers.
Wow.
You can have a meaningful conversation with someone who speaks a completely different language,
Yeah,
which opens up a whole new world of potential connections.
that's pretty amazing. I can imagine how powerful that would be for someone who feels isolated or like they don't fit in locally.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
And AI isn't just about finding new friends, it's also about helping us maintain our existing friendships.
How so?
Well, think about all the ways social media platforms use AI to keep us connected. They remind us of birthdays,
Right.
anniversaries, and
Yeah.
other important dates. They might even suggest that we reach out to a friend we haven't spoken to in a while, nudging us to maintain those bonds.
I've definitely seen those nudges.
Yeah.
It's like having a digital social secretary who's constantly reminding me to stay in touch with people.
Exactly. And as AI personal assistants become more sophisticated,
Right.
they could play an even bigger role in managing our social lives.
Helping us schedule hangouts,
Okay.
suggest activities based on shared interests,
Right.
and even offering advice on how to navigate tricky social situations.
Imagine an AI that knows your friends as well as you do
Yeah.
and can help you maintain those relationships effortlessly. It's like having a personal social concierge.
It's a vision that's not too far off. But as with dating,
Right.
there are potential downsides to AI's influence on friendships.
Yeah, there are always trade-offs with new technology. What are some of the concerns the study raises about AI's impact on friendships?
One concern is the creation of what the study calls filter bubbles or echo chambers. It's the idea that the same algorithms that connect us with like-minded people can also isolate us from different perspectives.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about those.
Yeah.
It's like you're trapped in a social media bubble where everyone agrees with you
Right.
and you never encounter any opposing viewpoints.
Exactly. If the AI is constantly feeding you content you're likely to agree with or like,
Then you're less likely to be challenged by different ideas or perspectives.
right.
It can lead to polarization and intolerance,
Yeah.
making it harder to have respectful conversations with people who hold different views.
So instead of broadening our horizons,
Yeah,
AI might be narrowing them.
that's the risk. And it's not just about political or ideological differences. The study also talks about how AI-mediated friendships can sometimes lack depth.
Right. It's one thing to be Facebook friends with someone, but it's another thing to have those deep, meaningful conversations that build true intimacy.
Exactly. Communicating primarily through text-to-likes or comments is not the same as spending quality time with someone in person,
Right.
sharing experiences and having those unscripted moments of connection.
Plus, online, it's easy to present a curated version of yourself, all those perfectly filtered photos and witty status updates. You're not exactly showing your
Right.
messy, vulnerable self.
Right. And that can lead to a culture of envy and unrealistic expectations.
Right.
You start comparing your life to the highlight reel of someone else's.
Yeah.
And it can leave you feeling inadequate or disconnected.
I know I've fallen into that trap myself.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget that everyone's struggling with something behind that perfect online facade.
It is. And the study emphasizes the importance of face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
Those moments of shared vulnerability and unscripted laughter that can't be replicated through a screen. Those are the moments where true empathy and understanding can flourish.
So even if AI is helping us connect with more people, it might be at the expense of the quality of those connections.
That's the trade-off we need to be mindful of. And then there's the question of what happens when the friends we're connecting with aren't even human.
Okay, let's talk about AI friends. The study mentioned apps like Replica,
Right.
where people are forming close bonds with chatbots. Is this really becoming a thing?
It is, and it's growing rapidly.
Wow.
Replica has millions of users, and people are turning to AI companions for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
To combat loneliness, to explore their emotions, to experiment with different social interactions, and even as a form of self-improvement.
I can see the appeal.
Yeah.
An AI friend would never judge you, would always be available to chat,
Right.
and wouldn't require the same level of emotional investment as a human friend.
Exactly. And the study highlights how AI companions can provide a sense of comfort and support.
Right.
Especially for people who are feeling isolated or vulnerable.
But it also raises some red flags, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What are some of the potential downsides of getting too attached to an AI friend?
Well, one concern is that it could hinder the development of real-world social skills.
Right.
If you're spending most of your time interacting with an AI that's programmed to be agreeable and understanding,
Yeah.
you might not get enough practice navigating the complexities of human interaction.
Right.
Real friendships require effort, compromise, and the ability to deal with conflict and disagreements.
That makes sense. An AI friend wouldn't challenge you in the same way a human friend would. It's like practicing for a tennis match by hitting a ball against a wall. It might help with your technique, but it's not going to prepare you for the unpredictable dynamics of a real opponent.
That's a great analogy. And there's also the risk of becoming emotionally dependent on an AI companion.
Right.
It's always there, always listening, always validating.
Right.
It can be tempting to withdraw from real-world interactions and to seek solace in that artificial world where everything is predictable and under your control.
So it's like a digital comfort blanket, but one that could ultimately prevent you from engaging with the messy, unpredictable beauty of human relationships?
That's the concern. And there's also the issue of who controls these AI companions and how they might be used to manipulate or exploit users. We're sharing our innermost thoughts and feelings with these chatbots, and it's not always clear who has access to that data or how it might be used.
It's a reminder that even in the world of AI friendship, we need to be careful about who we trust.
Absolutely. And it's crucial to remember that AI companions are not a replacement for human connection.
Right.
They can be a helpful supplement, a way to explore our emotions or practice social skills, but they shouldn't become our primary source of social interaction.
Well, this has been a fascinating, but slightly disturbing look at how AI is changing how we find love and build friendships. It's like we're entering a whole new era of social connection, one that's mediated by algorithms and shaped by virtual experiences.
It is. And before we move on,
we
need to talk about how AI is changing the very way we communicate, both in romantic relationships and friendships.
Okay, so we've established that AI is changing who we connect with and how we find them. But how is it changing how we interact?
Right.
How we express ourselves? How we build those connections?
This is where AI is getting really sneaky in a way. It's embedding itself in our daily interactions, often without us even realizing it.
You mean like those AI-powered writing assistants that suggest words and phrases as we type?
Exactly. Think about Gmail's Smart Reply and Smart Compose features, or the predictive text on your phone. These tools are powered by machine learning, and they're becoming so good that a significant portion of our everyday communication is literally being written by AI.
I have to admit, I use Smart Reply all the time. It's just so convenient, especially when I'm on the go or I'm feeling lazy.
It is. And that's the big selling point of AI-assisted communication. It
Yeah.
saves time,
Right.
reduces effort,
Mm.
and can even help us express ourselves more clearly,
Yeah.
especially for those who struggle with writing.
Right. I can see how helpful that could be for someone with dyslexia or for someone who's communicating in a second language.
Absolutely. AI-powered translation tools are another game changer.
Yeah. Breaking down language barriers
Yeah.
and allowing people from different cultures to connect more easily than ever before.
Wow.
Like having a personal interpreter in your pocket.
But even with all these benefits,
Yeah.
there are some potential downsides to AI's intrusion into our communication.
Right. There are. One concern is a loss of personal touch.
Right.
If we're all relying on the same AI-suggested phrases,
Yeah.
our communication might become homogenized and less authentic.
Yeah.
It's like we're all speaking in the same robotic voice,
Right.
devoid of personality or nuance.
And there's also the risk that we'll become overly reliant on AI and lose some of our own writing skills or our ability to express ourselves creatively. It's like our brains are getting lazy because the AI is doing the thinking for us.
And then there's the question of authorship. If an AI is crafting our messages,
Right.
who's really speaking?
Yeah, if I send you a text that's entirely written by an AI,
Right.
is it really me who's communicating with you?
Yeah. Host speaker. We just finished talking about AI's impact on dating and friendships, and honestly, it's a lot to process. One thing that keeps coming up is how differently people might react to these changes.
It's a great point. AI and relationships aren't just about technology. They're deeply intertwined with cultural values and social norms.
Right.
What might be seen as a breakthrough in one culture could be viewed with suspicion in another.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach to AI in relationships.
Exactly.
It's not like we can just roll out these technologies globally and expect everyone to embrace them in the same way.
Exactly. The study really emphasizes this, stressing the importance of considering cultural context when developing and implementing AI systems that touch on such personal aspects of our lives.
Right.
It's not just about the code, it's about understanding the human values and beliefs that shape how we connect with each other.
The study actually highlights some pretty fascinating examples of how different cultures are approaching things like AI-driven matchmaking and virtual companionship. Can you share some of those?
Absolutely.
I'm curious to hear how these trends are playing out around the world.
The study points to East Asia, particularly Japan, as a region that's been particularly receptive to AI companions and virtual partners.
That's interesting. Japan has always been at the forefront of robotics and technology.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they'd be more open to blurring the lines between human and artificial relationships.
Right. There's a cultural concept in Japan that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
The idea of a virtual wife-husband. Think of it as a character,
Right.
often from anime or a video game that a person might feel deeply devoted to.
I've heard about that. There was a well-publicized case a few years ago of a Japanese man who held a marriage ceremony with a hologram of Hatsune Miku, a popular virtual singer.
Right.
It made headlines worldwide and really sparked a conversation about the nature of love and companionship in the digital age.
Exactly. Akihiko Kondo's story really captured people's imaginations and highlighted this growing trend of forming deep emotional attachments to virtual characters. And while it might seem unusual to some, it reflects a cultural openness to non-traditional relationships and a comfort level with technology that's not as prevalent in other parts of the world.
It's definitely a sign of how our ideas about relationships are evolving. And the study suggests that Kondo isn't alone.
Right.
There's a whole subculture in Japan of people who feel genuine affection and even love for virtual characters.
It's a fascinating phenomenon that challenges our assumptions about what it means to connect with another being. And it's not just limited to Japan. The study also mentions China as being very receptive to AI companions.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. Microsoft's Yoi's chatbot, which has a playful teenage girl persona, is incredibly popular in China,
Right.
with millions of users forming close bonds with her. I even read that a significant percentage of Xiao's users have told her, "I love you,"
Wow.
which is both touching and a bit mind-blowing.
It really speaks to the power of AI to create a sense of connection and intimacy even in the absence of a physical presence.
But even in cultures that are more accepting of AI in relationships, there are still ethical concerns that need to be addressed. We can't just ignore the potential risks and challenges, even if the technology is exciting or appealing.
Absolutely. And that's where the study really shines. It dives into some of the key ethical challenges that we need to grapple with as AI becomes more integrated into our social lives, regardless of cultural differences.
Okay, let's talk ethics.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the biggest concerns that this study highlights?
One of the most pressing issues is privacy and data security. Think about it. AI systems that are focused on relationships are dealing with some of the most personal and sensitive information we have. Our conversations, our preferences, our emotional vulnerabilities.
It's like we're giving these algorithms access to the most intimate parts of our lives.
Yeah.
Our hopes and fears, our dreams and secrets.
Hmm.
If that data is misused or falls into the wrong hands, the consequences could be devastating.
Exactly. The study points to several cases where data from dating apps and social media platforms has been leaked or sold to third parties without users' knowledge or consent. It's a serious breach of trust, and it highlights the need for strong regulations and ethical guidelines to protect users' privacy.
So we need to make sure that these companies are being transparent about how they're using our data and that they're giving us more control over how it's shared and protected.
Right.
We need to know what we're signing up for when we interact with these AI systems.
Absolutely. Informed consent is crucial. Users need to understand what data is being collected, how it's being used, and what the potential risks are, and they should have the right to opt out of data collection or to delete their data if they choose.
Transparency and control are key. What other ethical concerns does the study raise?
Another big one is the potential for AI to perpetuate existing societal biases and inequalities. We touched on this earlier when we were talking about how algorithms can reinforce biases in dating apps.
Right.
But this issue extends far beyond just romance.
Right. If the data that these AI systems are trained on reflects our societal prejudices, whether conscious or unconscious, then the algorithms are going to replicate those biases in their recommendations and decisions, potentially leading to unfair or discriminatory outcomes.
Exactly. For instance, an AI system designed to recommend friends or social connections might inadvertently favor people from certain backgrounds or demographic groups simply because the data it was trained on reflected those existing social patterns.
It's like AI is holding up a mirror to our own biases, revealing the ways in which we tend to gravitate towards people who are similar to us.
Right.
And if we're not careful, these systems could end up amplifying those biases, leading to even greater social segregation and polarization.
The study stresses the importance of having diverse teams developing these AI systems and of implementing rigorous testing and auditing processes to detect and mitigate bias.
It's not just about building cool technology. It's about ensuring that it's being used in a way that benefits society as a whole and that doesn't further marginalize or disadvantage already vulnerable groups.
Exactly. And another important ethical consideration is the potential for psychological harm. As AI companions become more sophisticated and more lifelike, there's a risk that people will become overly attached to them and withdraw from real-world relationships.
We touched on this earlier when we were talking about AI friends. It's the concern that people will choose the easy comfort and predictability of an AI companion over the messiness and challenges of real human relationships.
Right. The study actually mentions a case where a company that develops a popular AI companion app made some changes that limited the chatbot's ability to engage in romantic role play with users.
Oh, I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
It sparked a huge backlash from the user community. People were devastated, reporting feelings of grief, loss, and even betrayal,
Right.
as if they'd been separated from a real partner.
It was a powerful reminder that these AI companions can evoke strong emotional responses,
Yeah.
even if they're not sentient beings.
It really makes you think about the responsibilities of the companies that are developing these technologies. If they're creating AI systems that are capable of eliciting such strong emotions, they need to be prepared to deal with the potential fallout.
It's uncharted territory. And the study recommends more research into the long-term psychological effects of AI companionship, particularly for vulnerable populations.
So we need to be cautious, but also curious and open-minded. AI has the potential to change the way we relate to each other in profound ways,
Yeah.
both for better and for worse.
Mm-hmm.
We need to proceed thoughtfully, ethically, and with a deep understanding of the potential risks and benefits.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a fascinating and rapidly evolving landscape, and the choices we make now will have a lasting impact on the future of human connection.
All this talk about the potential pitfalls of AI has me wondering,
Yeah.
what does the future hold?
hmm
What are some of the predictions for how AI might shape relationships in the years to come?
Well, the study actually offers some pretty fascinating predictions, ranging from the mundane to the mind-blowing. It's like peeking into a crystal ball and glimpsing a future where technology and human intimacy are intertwined in ways we can barely imagine.
Okay, I'm ready for some sci-fi speculation.
Mm.
What are some of the wilder predictions? We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, AI's impact on dating, friendships, even the way we communicate. It's clear that we're entering uncharted territory where the lines between technology and human interaction are becoming increasingly blurred.
It's a brave new world of connection, full of exciting possibilities, but also potential pitfalls. And as we wrap up this deep dive, it's time to look ahead and consider what the study predicts for the future of human relationships in the age of AI.
All right, let's get into those predictions. What trends are emerging and how might they reshape the way we connect with each other in the years to come?
Well, the study lays out a fascinating roadmap highlighting several key trends and predictions. One of the most significant predictions is the rise of advanced chatbots and virtual partners that are far more sophisticated than what we see today.
Okay.
We're talking about AI companions with greater emotional intelligence, personalized memories, and incredibly human-like dialogue.
So we're talking about AI that can not only hold a conversation, but can also understand our emotions, anticipate our needs, and offer a level of companionship that feels as genuine as any human relationship.
Exactly. Imagine an AI companion that remembers every important detail of your life, your favorite books, your childhood dreams, the names of your loved ones.
Wow.
This companion could offer words of encouragement when you're feeling down, celebrate your successes, and even challenge you to grow as a person.
It sounds like having a best friend or a life partner who's always there for you, who knows you inside and out, and who's constantly evolving and adapting to your needs. But wouldn't it get a bit strange if that someone was an algorithm?
It's a valid concern. As these AI companions become more lifelike and integrated into our lives, we'll need to have serious conversations about the nature of these relationships and the potential for emotional dependency. It's crucial that we don't lose sight of the importance of human-to-human connection, even as we explore these new forms of companionship.
It's all about finding that balance, isn't it? Embracing the potential benefits of AI without losing sight of our human needs and values.
Absolutely. And another major trend the study predicts is the convergence of AI with immersive technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality.
The metaverse, everyone's talking about it these days. But how will this blend of AI and immersive experiences actually change how we relate to each other?
Imagine putting on a VR headset and going on a virtual date with an AI partner who looks, sounds, and even acts incredibly human.
Okay.
You could have dinner at a candlelit restaurant overlooking a virtual ocean, dance the night away at a concert, or even visit a museum together, all without leaving your living room.
It sounds like a whole new level of online dating, with a level of immersion and realism that could be incredibly seductive. But wouldn't it be a bit strange to fall in love with an AI in a virtual world?
It certainly challenges our current understanding of what it means to be in a relationship. But for some people, especially those who find it difficult to connect with others in the real world due to social anxiety or other challenges, these virtual relationships might offer a sense of connection and intimacy that they wouldn't otherwise experience.
It's a fascinating dilemma. How do we reconcile our desire for connection with the blurring boundaries between the real and the virtual?
And it's not just about romance. Imagine attending a friend's birthday party in virtual reality, with a mix of your real friends and AI guests, all interacting in a shared virtual space that feels as real as being there in person.
It's almost like teleporting into each other's lives, even if we're physically miles apart. It's amazing to think about the possibilities, but also a little bit scary. Are we losing something essential about human connection when we move these interactions into the virtual realm?
The study predicts that we'll see a growing acceptance of these hybrid relationships, real relationships, AI relationships, and then blended relationships that combine elements of both. And as these new forms of connection become more common, we'll need to adapt our social norms and our ethical frameworks to navigate this new landscape.
It's like we're standing on the edge of a vast unknown territory, and we have the opportunity and the responsibility to shape the future of human connection.
And to do that, we need to be proactive. We can't just sit back and passively observe as these technologies evolve. We need to be asking tough questions about the ethics of AI, demanding transparency from the companies developing these systems, and engaging in open and honest conversations about what kind of future we want to create.
So what steps can we take to ensure that AI enhances our relationships rather than diminishes them? What can we do as individuals and as a society to steer this technology in a positive direction?
The study highlights three key areas: transparency, ethical design, and ongoing research. First, we need to demand transparency from AI developers. We need to understand how their algorithms work, what data they collect, and how they use that data to shape our experiences. No more black boxes. We need to see behind the curtain and make informed choices about how we interact with these systems.
It's about taking back control. We're the ones who should be shaping technology, not the other way around.
Exactly. And second, we need to advocate for ethical design. AI systems should be developed with human values in mind: fairness, inclusivity, well-being. We need to ensure that these technologies don't exacerbate existing biases or social inequalities, and that they're designed to promote positive social outcomes.
It's not just about making cool tech, it's about making tech that makes the world a better place.
And finally, we need to support ongoing research into the impact of AI on human relationships. We're still in the early stages of understanding how these technologies are shaping our social lives and our emotional well-being. We need more research to guide ethical decision-making and to ensure that we're using AI in a way that benefits individuals and society as a whole.
It's a constantly evolving landscape, and we need to be constantly learning and adapting.
Exactly. This isn't a one-time fix. It's an ongoing conversation, a process of exploration, and a shared responsibility to shape the future we want.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive, both fascinating and thought-provoking. It's clear that AI is revolutionizing human relationships in ways we're only beginning to grasp.
It is.
It's exciting, it's daunting, and it's definitely something we all need to be thinking about.
It's a reminder that the future of human connection isn't predetermined. It's something we're actively creating, one interaction, one choice, one algorithm at a time.
So the big question is, will AI ultimately bring us closer together or drive us further apart?
The answer lies in our hands. By demanding transparency, promoting ethical design, supporting research, and engaging in these important conversations, we can help steer AI toward the future where it strengthens our bonds, expands our circles of compassion, and deepens our capacity for love, friendship, and connection.
This has been AI Daily Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. We hope you've gained some new insights and that you'll continue to explore these complex and fascinating questions about the future of human relationships in the age of AI.